Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two informative videos are done for the day, in which we talked about both protein intake and daily undulating periodization, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. So someone had asked me last week, hey, have I noticed that Connor Murphy and Christian Guzman have lost their gains? And I've covered the Christian Guzman thing. I did two different videos on it. Now I thought I would go ahead and see what's going on with Connor Murphy. So I went and watched his video on this. Apparently he made a video discussing it. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now, as a power lifter, I'm not up to speed on all the aesthetics. I'm a strength athlete. That's what my background's in. I'm in strength sports. I appreciate athleticism more than aesthetics. And you know, if you guys want to chase aesthetics, that's cool, that's fine. I would still say don't use that as an excuse not to be strong and not to be athletic. In other words, do your squats and power cleans. All right? Do those things. In fact, they'll probably help you with your overall aesthetics anyways. They'll help you bring up weak points in your body because you're going to work everything. So that being said, I watched his video. I was harder on Christian Guzman because I just don't like the way he trains. And I don't think he's that knowledgeable as far as the drugs go. With Connor Murphy, what I thought was interesting, he had said he's 6'2", 205. He put himself about 8% body fat back when he was looking a little bigger, a little leaner. And he went and weighed himself on camera. He's down a pound. He does look a little bit smaller. Now, I'm not going to jump in and say, oh, he's definitely using gear or anything like that. Because where he's at is obtainable natural on his frame. And he's not freaky, doesn't have that full look when he's really lean, any of that stuff. Meaning, is it possible that he's natty? Yeah, it's possible that he's natty. The only downside, the biggest thing that I would say no, as far as him being enhanced, is because he's making his living partially off his physique. In which case, if he is natty, he's not being a very intelligent businessman. He seems to be all about his money and selling products. That's what he's about. So why would anyone stay natural in that situation if they knew they could make an extra $50,000 or more a year if they went on some gear? So from a logical perspective, it doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with what's obtainable. But the thing is that he was saying lighting matters, Instagram filters matter, and that's a good point because people always run around and they talk about, you know, this is what people look like and why doesn't this person look like that? But those people don't look like it year round. And that's the thing. He kind of did a little transformation and he talked about that and lighting and everything else. Something I should probably learn more about eventually. Particularly when I go do another cut and I get leaner. It would probably help me to learn this stuff. Because you guys remember on my own Instagram, you guys don't normally see me with a pump. I'm always in a t-shirt, and I did some training in a tank top and Brittany took a photo. And I was shocked at how I looked with a pump in a tank top. I'm like, I almost look like a bodybuilder. Which is really not my thing. I don't train like a bodybuilder in any way. It's not really my thing. But I did notice it, and then she ran it through a filter, threw it on Instagram, and that filter on Instagram made a tremendous difference. And I was, again, pretty shocked at just what someone could do running stuff through a filter. So I'm starting to understand the illusion of all of this better. And the same thing, I mean, I was in gym lighting, and you guys have all seen the photo, and I was in gym lighting with a pump, and it really and truly does make a difference. Again, and it kind of shocked me as someone who really isn't as up to speed on all this as I should be. Now, he went and got a pump and everything, and he said that's a big part of the difference. It's a big part of the difference. Actually, it makes me want to try it. Let me try that real quick. Let me do a couple curls here, and let's see if I look any bigger. All right. Got to be careful going over 5 reps. I don't really do more than 3 reps at a time, you know. All right. Getting up into some cardio. Do a little bit of tricep stuff. See if my arm looks bigger with a little bit of a pump. And I'm being facetious. I know. All right, let me see. Do I look bigger? I look cock diesel now? Do I look like I lift? You know, because everyone always says, you look like a fat middle-aged guy who doesn't lift. They say that online. I don't know. Did it work? Did I look cock diesel? Now the scary part is I did like a bunch of high reps just now with my right arm. Now it's going to grow more than my left, so I'm going to be all messed up now. I'm going to be even more catawampus than I have been with this torn bicep. Which, don't overreach on deadlifts, guys, and do your chin-ups from a dead hang so that you build your tendons better on your biceps so you don't end up where I was. For those curious, I've got entire videos on preventing bicep tears on the deadlift, which is something I hold dear to my heart, having torn one of mine and had to have it reattached. But the point is, has he lost Gainzzz? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I was, again, kind of shocked at the difference of how he looked and a little bit of the older footage compared to how he looks now, because he got up in the tank top at the start of his video, and I'm looking at this guy going, there are people calling this guy a fake natty. But he's off stuff right now because he barely looked like he lifted. Again, we're back to the point of the amount of size that he was carrying in the initial parts of the video out on the beach. I think a person could be there in 2 years. I think that's obtainable in terms of overall size and muscle mass in terms of 2 years, completely drug-free on any good strength program. I don't think someone even needs to run a bodybuilder specific program to be at that size. It's just not that big. It's not that big. Is he going to look more aesthetic in those terms than a lot of people? Yeah, because he's tall. Guy's got relatively wide shoulders, and he's tall and has that longer look. So that is going to give a certain look that a shorter guy isn't going to have. And a shorter guy with a similar BMI is probably going to look thicker because, again, he's shorter. Again, you'd be surprised what a 5'6" guy looks like at 180 pounds if they're under 10% body fat. They look massive in comparison to a guy like him weighing 25 pounds heavier than them, but 7 inches taller. They just tend to look a little more, I guess aesthetic is the term everyone wants to use for that. But the thing is, he did a transformation, right there in a few minutes, showed the differences between what difference lighting makes, pump makes, even just changing your food intake in a short period of time, how much difference all of that makes. And that's the thing. When it comes to a lot of these guys who we're seeing up here on Instagram and YouTube Fitness and everything else, most of the time, they're only showing themselves when they look their best. They're showing themselves when they look their best, and it creates this idea in people's minds of what they think they should be striving for. And if they eat right, or they train right, or they do all of this, they're going to look like that. But they're not factoring in, these guys don't look like that either. Right? These guys don't look like that either. They don't walk around 24/7 with perfect lighting, with a pump, with a perfect tan, all of these things, or Instagram filters. They don't walk around like that 24/7. And that's the interesting thing. People would really be shocked at what a lot of these guys look like in person. And like I said before, even Jeff Side's a perfect example. I met Jeff Side in person. Because I had people try to say, oh, Jeff Side's bigger than you. And this always comes up. This is one of the things where people get angry and say, oh, you're so full of it. When I said I was shocked at how much smaller Jeff Side was than me when I met him years ago at an expo. He was really, really small. And again, I bumped into Ogus and Lovato, and for people who talk to them, if you don't believe me, they were even shocked. They were like, dude, you're a lot bigger than we thought you were. And I'm bigger now than I was back then. But again, it's all about illusion. It's because I don't walk around lean. I don't have good lighting. I don't know how to do all this stuff. I guess I'm not going to look a certain way. And the guys who really know this, you will be surprised that they're not as big as you think they are. It's how the illusion of the lighting, the pump, body fat, and all that makes. And the difference is, even look at the examples he gave in that video of his body fat difference. When he changed the lighting, his body fat looked 5 to 6% different. Meaning he was probably 10% body fat, right? That day, walking around about 10% body fat. He stepped into different lighting. You would think he was 15% body fat, 16%. Lighting makes a big difference with this stuff. And that is the problem with all of this, is these false ideas that people get in their head of what they think that they are going to look like or what you should look like based upon trickery. And normally I rip on a lot of these guys on YouTube who talk about the aesthetics and do the aesthetic thing because I dislike a lot of it. And I don't know much about Connor. I'm not a fan, but I don't really know much about him other than he's trying to sell books to help you get girls as far as your physique, which, again, you guys know my take on that. But he's talking about, look, this is the truth of it. Here's the transparency in the industry. And I think I can appreciate that. No matter what else I might think about other things the guy has done, I can respect the fact that there is someone here in that part of YouTube Fitness, that community, that aesthetics thing, who is saying, It's illusion, guys. It's illusion. It's all illusion. And here's how it's done. And I kind of like to see that. I like that because we need more transparency, because there is so much bullshit and nonsense in this industry. I do actually appreciate it when I see someone showing a little bit of transparency. I think it's nice to see for a change. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.